one of the questions was about like divinity and like, is there anything that isn't divine, like including the illusions or even the notions of a separate self or the appearance of ones that can interact?
There isn't anything which isn't divine. It's all it.
And then with you just mentioned like how it's just coming, like it's not like you're not, there's no one really there like speaking the words, they just kind of spontaneously happen. Does it ever feel like I almost feel like most of what's happening is unseen, and there's like this immense, not like a volcano, but like something like that it's not seen in the usual perceptual ways.
Like an energy.
Yeah, yeah. And what's noticed or what's consciously perceived is just kind of just one tiny aspect of that, but it's taken to be the whole of what's happening.
I got lost. I'm in a particularly no-thing mood tonight. I can't hold on to what you asked me. This might not be a very productive talk.
Yeah.
You have to ask me again.
Okay. I don't know if it was really a question. It was just kind of a noticing. Well, what about the sense of the illusion of linear sequential causation? Like, there's a history that led up to now, and this is leading to a definite. It has a trajectory that's going to a certain place. So are you saying that this is just instantly, immediately appearing all at once, and what's appearing includes like almost like the flavor of a history, as if a whole history has happened?
Yeah, it always appears as if it's in cause and effect, so one thing to another thing to another thing to another thing, but it's never actually happening. It's never actually, and it doesn't even really come from nowhere, it just is nothing, appearing as everything, appearing as movement, appearing as cause and effect, appearing as a result of billions of factors. But most people don't even think about that. They think that their actions aren't even a billion factors, they think that their actions are their own. But in the appearance of things, it takes everything in order for their action to happen. It takes the sunlight, it takes the cloud movement, it takes the earth to spin. It takes everything, everything. There couldn't be one thing that's out of place. So in the appearance of things, they believe that they're moving independently. But actually, if you look at all appearance, all it reflects back is non-separation, that everything is dependent and interconnected with everything else. But that's one side of things, but then on the double whammy is that it's never actually happening. That's never actually a reality. It's spontaneously created here, now. This is all there ever is. There's never time, there's never past and future. It just appears that way.
Yeah.
Like a kaleidoscope moving.
That's awesome. Yeah, and in a certain sense, it seems like it can never be like two moments simultaneously, so that's why it never actually happened in a certain sense, because once the new moment is now, like the previous, it's
gone.
No longer, because it had to make way for this.
Yeah.
In a certain sense.
Yeah, and the human is stuck on time because it believes it's really real and it's really happening and there's really independence, and it just gets stuck in time. And the more and more that separate person grows, the more and more it worries, has anxiety, fears. Like that's like the side effect of that separation, is that all this mental activity grows because it's always trying to predict the future, search in the future, get things from the future, when really neither of that exists. It's like the back and the front are empty.
Yeah. Yeah, that in a certain sense, would you say, to the extent that there's the kind of presence of like an entity or a sense of a self or a person, then that kind of blocks any, I don't know if you could even call it knowing, because who would know, really? But
It just creates the appearance of suffering, I would
yeah,
say, and suffering is a separate self, so it always makes this world seem divided while that's there. And I think it gets stronger and less, like throughout the day for most people. Sometimes there's more of a contraction person there and then less.
yeah. Um, it seems like when that person is present, then there's like usually an underlying sense of need
Yeah,
or like movement towards getting something.
yeah.
But then maybe when that's not there, then the whole sense of need is seen as maybe ridiculous or not. Because like
Yeah.
what like need really?
Yeah, but the body does have its natural desires to eat
Oh
and to communicate and be social, but it's no longer fulfilling.
yeah.
It just is the body's movement. It doesn't fulfill anything because there's nothing there anymore. Whereas when the person's there, there's somebody there that needs to prove themselves, needs to be something, needs to be immortal, needs to have their name stay after they die. So there's nowhere to get to and go.
Uh, have you heard of synesthesia before? Like where you see what you hear, where the senses kind of get changed, so like you can smell what you taste and you taste what you see, or things like that.
No, I've never heard of that, but this body is prone to bizarre experiences. I have vertigo. I think I have quite a bad case of vertigo, so often if I'm just in 2 or 3 heights of a building, it feels like it's moving.
Oh wow.
So I'm often feeling like I'm often having bizarre experiences. So I can imagine having something like that. And I often get smells at the wrong time, like nice smells of roses, and there's no source. But I don't have it, but I've heard of it. But I can imagine what it's like.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing too. Like how imagination can, like when they say like, oh, if you imagine like you're eating a sour lemon, then your saliva glands will start, like,
Yeah,
even though there's no like lemon there.
yeah,
But I mean, how much of what we experience is, or what is experienced, not we, but is experienced as kind of a result of this imaginary realm of like
yeah.
imagining things, and then the physiological.
I don't know though if there's like a separation though, because I think the world and the brain are the same thing. So I'm not a scientist and I don't understand how it works, but if the brain is creating a different reality to what other people are collectively seeing, I don't know. I mean, I think that we have a collective reality that we see as humans, but only because that made us better at surviving. So if we didn't have a collective reality, then we couldn't build the house together, we couldn't gather the fruit together, so we had to. And then we have other people which we call mad, which don't fit into the collective reality. But I mean, which world is right? If you look at the world through a brain of an owl, it will be so different. Like I think they see in heat, it would be a completely different realm. So I don't think there is this. I think the brain and the world are the same thing. The way that life experiences itself is it creates these bodies and a world in order to have experience, but they're not separate.
Yeah.
Like they're the same thing. So then you suggest a smell, and then suddenly the body smells it if it's real. And then sometimes you might also notice that if somebody mentions something, that also appears. So a few times somebody mentions, I don't know, that you need to watch this film or something, and then before you know it, it's on your computer, or somebody sent you a DVD, or like it just always seems to happen like that. But it's not that there's coincidences, there's anything separate, it's just that the brain and the world are the same.
Yeah. Yeah, it's part of it.
You can't find a difference between what is and the brain and what is, they're the same. But it's not that the brain's the source, but it's just that it's the instrument which is used to interpret this energy, this flow of energy.
Yeah. it seems like there's like different um, ways of perceiving or something. Like it seems that at least with this body mind, like before it seemed that the eyes were seeing in a certain way, like that were just almost like projected memories or definitions of things. And then now it's like it's something. It feels like very subtle, and it's like almost like endless beauty. But it's not like I'm generating it. It's almost like I don't know. I guess it would look like abstract art to most people, but but I don't. But that's just kind of.
That's
I don't
beautiful.
really know what's happening.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like there's no, like, the brains are all wired in their certain ways, and if that brain is looking that way, that's really beautiful.
Somehow.
Yeah. To see it as abstract art, that could be also quite intense as well.
Yeah, but it actually looks more real um, to me, I guess. But if I were to project it or something like holographically, it would probably look abstract to
Yeah,
the usual way of seeing things.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, that stillness, that's amazing too. Just how there can be like that simultaneous two aspects of this, as the perfect stillness and immovability in a certain sense, and then the perpetual motion.
Yeah, yeah.
So is there? So ultimately, would you say it's all silent? Like even though there appears to be like sound
I think
and
it's simultaneous.
something, yeah.
I mean, in the Buddhist sutras, they say that the first is emptiness, so the first is void. Um, but here it's seen as simultaneous.
Yeah.
They also say in the sutras that it's both simultaneous as well. Yeah, they contradict each other. Basically, we could just never comprehend with our brain.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. But in a certain sense, it does make sense because yeah, it would just be simultaneously. Uh, but maybe because the brain, the way that it functions is it has to like pick out, I guess, and like
Yeah.
distinguish
And then also when you think about it, if we like, there can never be non-existence. There can only ever be existence, which is non-existence, but there can never be solely non-existence because that doesn't exist.
yeah.
So it's, but then you get to
Yeah, well, thanks so much for
oh,
all
nice
there.
to speak with you. It is Kevin, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was calling you Michael before, but I think I've done that many times.
Yeah.
But I got it right in the end. Oh, nice to speak with you, Kevin.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Yeah, bye.